to play ball. Welcome to the podcast with no limits. Whether it be sports, current events, or random thoughts, this is the place to step in and stay a while. Your host is a proud alumnus of Rio Hondo Prep, a former minor league baseball umpire, and a man with strong opinions. Welcome to the Get Home Safe podcast and your host, Matt Ursema.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Get Home Safe. It's a Friday edition of the podcast. And if you are watching on YouTube, you can see I got my West Point Army shirt on, courtesy of Captain Maynard Bajorquez from the graduate of the West Point Academy and, member of the United States Army. I got my kind of camo American flag hat on because I'm talking to somebody today that definitely loves the Army. His son spent a great deal of time in the United States Army. Andy and I, my friend here, Angelo, always chat about Army Navy games a little bit. He wears a proud Army sweatshirt, I think, or a T-shirt a time or two. I've seen him in. But we started officiating, or he started well before me. He was a guy that officiated football for quite some time, and we also umpired some baseball together. He was one of the original coaches of the West Covina Dukes. I mean, there's a lot of things we're going to get to and cover today, but let's bring him on the program if I can't mess up the technology side of things. Angelo is our guest today, a friend of mine over the years. It's been a long time. I haven't seen him in quite a while. Let's see here. These waiting room things are tricky at times. But Angelo is our guest today, and Andy has a great deal of love and affection for the great people of Rio Hondo Prep. He's an official who's gone down and worked a lot of games there. He has been a fan really of Rio Hondo Prep football a time or two as well. Looks like we're having some trouble here bringing him on the program. I think he's muted, or the video is off too, it looks like. Oh man, what a bummer. I know he's there. I just talked to him. So something's going on here. This is what they call you're gonna have to fill here. You're gonna have to fill some time. So while Andy is connecting to audio and looks like video there. We just went through all these bugs and thought we cleared it all out, but I guess we still have issues. Andy, I don't know if you're there, but I can't see you or hear you, my friend. Anyway, I'll try to tell you guys about some of the guests we have coming on the Get Home Safe podcast. Well, I'm not sure when this one is coming out, so maybe I can't really spill any of the details in regards to that. I wish there was a pause button on these meetings here, but apparently there is not. Let me see. Let me pause this. Okay, there he is. We finally did it. I don't know how we did it, but we did it. It took some time. Angelo, welcome to the Get Home Safe podcast.
Great to see you, Matt. Great to see you.
Andy, it's been quite some time. It's been a crazy year and a half or so, and I'm trying to remember even before that when we saw each other last. Must have been real refereeing.
I think we did a youth football game at the new stadium at Rio Hondo Prep.
Yeah, that must have been it. Andy, you're someone who's officiated high school sports. You worked with the West Covina Dukes as a coach for quite some time. But once upon a time, this younger official, Matt Ursema, said, hey, there's these junior high football games where I would love to get some officials together and go down and work some games. And my buddy Devin is the coach, and you've gone down and you've officiated a lot of Rio Hondo Prep junior high games. You officiated baseball games. I have a lot of Rio Hondo Prep listeners. So what is your perception here off the bat of Rio Hondo Prep as kind of from an outsider perspective?
Well, it's a friendly environment to start with. The parents are friendly towards the officials, the coaches. They don't sometimes in your mind, you hope you make the right call. Nobody says a word,
Yeah.
It's great, and it's always nice. They put a nice hour 45, 2 hour time limit on the baseball games, and you're going to get out of there and uh, working those football games at Rio Hondo Prep on that little field.
Yeah.
That it was amazing. It's amazing to go down there. Uh, my wife and I went out to dinner last uh, Monday. We went to El Sombrero right there in El Monte, and I said, I want to show you where Rio Hondo Prep is,
Oh,
because
wow.
she graduated Arroyo High School just right across the washway, and
Oh,
she never knew that Rio Hondo Prep was that close. So the gates were open, so we just drove in. I said, there's the fields, there's the school, and we just drove in and out, and she was amazed that all of a sudden it's there.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's interesting. You drive down Forna Avenue, and then, of course, also the football stadium there that they've built in the Care Complex there in Irwindale. It has evolved into really something special, and I always find it interesting when guys go down there, have a good experience, having not been affiliated with the program. So that's really cool that you got, hey, date night showing the misses where Rio Hondo Prep is. That's awesome.
Yeah, I guess it was on my bucket list to do that. But anyway, yeah, going back, my very first playoff game, 8-man football game, was at Rio Hondo Prep.
Wow.
And Jim Johnson was the white hat. I was the umpire, and 3 other guys. I can't even remember. It was so long ago. I think it was like, I don't know, 92, 93, something like that.
Were
So,
you done at halftime? That's the big question.
well, let me tell you, back then, you had to get into the second half. Okay, so we did the second half kickoff. Rio Hondo kicked off. The other team received the ball, put the ball down, game over.
Oh, what? That's so weird. That is so weird.
It was like 48-0.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of a shame, because you want to work the game, you want to be out there doing the game, and all of a sudden they say, "Oh, game over."
Yeah,
So
it's one of those crazy 8-man football, and I don't know what it is now, but when I was playing, yeah, it was 45 or more at halftime or beyond. Then the game was just over. It ended, and I remember one time Rio was down or winning by 41, and the other team kicked off, opening kickoff or second half ran it back, and then it was game over. It was just stuff like that, and that was a big reason Rio moved to 11-man my senior year. Although that last title was a tough one in 01, it had just kind of become there was time for new challenges, a new step up, and we'll definitely talk about a famous 11-man football game at Rio that you worked. We'll talk about that later on. But anyway, Andy, good to see you. Yeah, it's been a while. How are you doing? How's your health? How's the family? I mean, it's been a long time since I've really chatted with you.
everything is good. My oldest son just turned 50 or 51, something like that. Anyway, Daniel, right now as we speak, he's in Anchorage, Alaska. He's working the state finals in American Legion baseball.
Nice.
And he's doing a game today at our time, 1:30. And then tonight he goes back to the stadium, and he's doing a college game.
Oh, man. Double dipping.
Yeah. So he lives in Fairbanks, and it's about 350-mile drive to get to Anchorage. But he's doing it this week, goes home for a couple of weeks, and then he goes back for there's 2 divisions in American Legion. They're called the junior and then the varsity division. So he's doing both of those divisions, but 2 weeks apart. So
wow,
he's doing real well.
I can't imagine there's a lot of officials in Alaska. We struggle for officials here in Southern California, very populated area. Is he? Are they always in demand up there?
Well, he is the assigner in Fairbanks for baseball. He does from youth ball all the way up to the high school, and he has maybe at the most 6 guys.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad, and yeah, you can understand what quality you have when you only have 6 guys. So, but I went up there 2 years in a row to help him officiate baseball games. During the pandemic here, there was nothing going on, so I hopped on a plane and flew up to Fairbanks and stayed up there for 3 weeks and officiated 21 baseball games.
Wow. Look at you, man.
So it was great. There was a time where years ago when he wanted to start officiating. I trained him at Rio Hondo Park in West Covina, and there's a picture of us that he posted side by side. Naturally, I'm doing the plate. I got the gear on, and we wore those old powder blue shirts with the button down.
Oh,
I don't even know if you were around at that time.
no, sir.
But, so he took a picture of that and he put it side by side. I did a game with him in Fairbanks, and the local newspaper reporter was there taking pictures, and he took a picture of us, and my son posted that picture side by side, 25 years difference. And my caption was yes, and I'm still doing the plate.
Of course. Andy, I didn't know you still owned plate gear. Some of those games at Maverick, man, you got us youngins working the plate here and there, man.
Well, you gotta learn.
So Daniel's 50. So Daniel's 50. That means his old man.
Daniel's 45. He's 30 years younger. My oldest son turned 50.
Oh, oldest son 50.
But going back to plate gear, my plate shoes fell apart. And here's a 75-year-old umpire buying new equipment. And I told my wife, I said, this is going to last longer than me.
Umpires are funny. We get stubborn with our gear. Like, no, I like my old stuff. But I got to tell you, new shoes. Oh, there's nothing like new shoes, new comfortable shoes. And you're like, why didn't I do this earlier? 75, Andy. God bless you, man. Still out there working. That's crazy. Now talk to me about, forgive me if I forget your other son's name.
Stephen.
Daniel and Stephen. Okay. And were those your only two children?
Yes.
Okay. And which of the two was in the Army?
The youngest one, Daniel.
Okay, it was Daniel. And what is Stephen up to?
Stephen works for Pet Boys. He does security work for Pet Boys.
Oh, wow.
He lives in Henderson, Nevada.
Oh, what a lucky guy, living the good life out there near Las Vegas. Not a bad
40-degree weather.
hey, there's air conditioning. Although Pep Boy the mechanic that area probably not too much air conditioning there. But it was Daniel, you telling me, who was in the Army, and I wore this get up for those not watching on YouTube, our West Point shirt from our good friend Captain Maynard Bajorquez of the U.S. Army, West Point graduate. And then I got my little camo hat on here because your son Daniel served quite admirably in the United States Army and had a job really that I don't think any of us would want, serving a few tours. So can you tell me about his service?
He was a combat medic, 2 tours in Iraq. Very, very, very hard duty because we were talking about the difference between Vietnam and nowadays. Back in Vietnam, you had the typical wounds. In Iraq, you had IEDs. So you had a different perspective of what blows up. It just was an awful. And he does have a touch of PTSD because of it, which is understandable, and because he lost a lot of his friends. He was stationed at Fort Wainwright there in Fairbanks, and they were the strikers. when they send the strikers to Iraq, he was part of that unit.
Mm.
So.
Well, I'm sure very difficult to, he probably doesn't talk about any of it, but man, I can't imagine not just being in combat, but then to be there for guys who are suffering and probably on their, their last breaths, even just being comfort to them. I mean, I can't think of something more admirable. So I know you are probably very, very proud of him.
Oh, very, very. And the first Gulf War, combat medics were the first targets because they were out saving people, taking care of people. So they were the first targets of the enemy to try to eliminate. And
Wow.
yeah.
How did Daniel get, I mean, we all kind of know why guys, I guess, get into the army. Did he know he wanted to be this combat medic, or did he kind of just say, I want to be in the military? What was his kind of path to getting there?
I don't really know how it came about, but he did have a choice. He enlisted, so he did have a choice of school, and he always wanted to be in the medical field. So that was the right step to take.
Mm.
So.
Yeah. That's yeah, man, I can't imagine. And yeah, I know he said he's retired now, and now he's umpiring random baseball games up in Alaska. So he's on to bigger and better things. That's good. But you're someone, Andy, you wear this, I've seen you have a nice Army sweatshirt, a nice Army t-shirt that you wear. It's brought up some discussions at times when we've been, out at breakfast or whatever. I know the Army Navy football game is always something that's a lot of fun to watch. And I know, so you and Daniel, I'm sure, tune in every year.
Well, it's more my stepson. He also was in the Army and served in Germany, but he is so gung-ho Army. So
Nice.
it's an Army family, starting with my father, who was third wave at Omaha Beach.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
So we follow the tradition, and even my wife's ex-husband, who has passed away, he was a Vietnam veteran too. So
man,
everything ties to the Army.
Yeah, that is, yeah. Well, go Army, beat Navy. I mean, it's a friendly rivalry, but man, there's something about you, and I love football. I love watching football, and I love watching Alabama or USC, these really talented teams. But there's, not to say Army Navy isn't, but when they get together there in December, that very last game of the year.
It's the tradition. Yeah.
Of all the games I want to get to in my life, that's probably number one. I want to get to an Army Navy game. It would be really, really cool to be a part of that. Well, very, very, see, I didn't even know we're going to talk about this. We got to talk about USC football as well. When we'll get to that, maybe your Dodger baseball and this and that. But before we do any of that, let's go back to about 75 years ago, Andy. About 75 years ago, where it all began. Where did you grow up and spend your childhood and high school years?
I was born and raised in East LA, USC Medical Center, right off the freeway, right off the 10 freeway. My dad, when he got out of the service, he was wounded in World War II. And he was able to, through the GI Bill, buy a home right off of Whittier Boulevard in East 2nd Street, downtown East LA. But then came the 710 freeway back in the day, and they bought us out. So that was the reason why we moved out to the Rosemead Almonte area to get out of East LA. So that's where it all began.
So as I got to ask, as a son whose father, stormed the beaches at Normandy, what was there not too many excuses made in the household from the Angelo kids?
No, he wasn't. He really wasn't that strict of a father. He worked hard. There's four of us. I had three brothers, and he was a hard worker. But he was able to buy a home, like I said, on the GI $1 million room, they called it. And he worked at a airplane plant in Los Angeles. And he bought a new car every other year. He
Wow.
was he was a hard worker.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. And so Andy, you ended up at Rosemead High School eventually, and then you played sports? Were you active in athletics as a kid and in high school?
In high school, believe it or not, I was on the varsity tennis team.
No, this has never come up. What?
Uh, and growing up, there was a guy that lived across the street that was an avid tennis player. So he gave us broken rackets, and we put them together with screws, and we went out and fooled around playing tennis. And for some reason, I became pretty good at it. And I was a 4-year varsity tennis player at Rosemead High School.
Man, you learn things on this podcast. That's for sure. That is hilarious. I don't think I've ever known that about you. See you running around, swinging the old tennis racket. That is funny. Oh man. Well, after high school, kind of what direction did you go? Did you have an idea of a career or a pursuit, or just wanted to live the good life in your 20s? What was life like after high school?
Well, the thing is I went to Pasadena City College and decided to take a year off, and that's when I got drafted into the Army. I went into the Army as a 19-year-old.
Wow.
And so I was drafted for 2 years, but I decided to take 3 years and get some schooling out of it. So I was one of the I had 2 years of college, so they put me as a Colonel's driver right away.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. So I did not see any combat. I went to Europe, drove a Colonel around for 30 months.
Wow. So in all those movies we've seen, I don't know, White Christmas or I don't know, Patton or whatever, there's the main character, and then there's a guy driving the Jeep. That was you.
That was me. only mine was a 68 Chevrolet Impala.
Wow. Not too bad. So what parts of you said you were in Europe? What parts of Europe were you at, and how long were you gone on your
in 1966, if you remember your history, Charles de Gaulle kicked the American Army out of France.
Yes.
And the colonel that I drove for was in charge of demolition. We didn't want to leave anything for the French people to live in. So in 1966, I was one of the last GIs, last Americans to leave France. From there, we went to Germany.
Wow. Interesting. I've toured Europe, for a few weeks as a teenager, again, with Rio Hondo Prep and such. I can't imagine living in these places for long periods of time. I mean, people go tour Europe now. It's this wonderful, place, but you were assigned there. I mean, be honest, was it hard living? Was it kind of nice being there? Did you miss home? I mean, take me through your emotions being there.
Well, the thing you're away from home for all that time. It's hard. But the thing too is there's actually winters over there. Being a Southern California boy, that white stuff was unacceptable.
Oh, I know. Cold. I know. We don't do that stuff.
The last year that I was there, I think we had 2 weeks of summer. That was it.
Oh, wow.
It was either cold, rainy, or snowing.
Wow. So you said you did 3 years in the Army?
Yes.
Wow. That's awesome. And then, so you come home after 3 years, and you used, did you complete your schooling with the courtesy of the United States Army, or kind of what was life like after your time there in the Army?
I went back to Pasadena City College on the GI Bill, and I was in graphic arts. I was a printer by trade. And so that's what I pursued. And then when I got out of bed, I got a job, and 30 years later, I retired from a printing company. So
wow. You know, what's
Yeah.
interesting is people really don't do that anymore as far as start at a job or a craft, specific skill and, work for 30 years at a place. I mean, it's the times have changed so much and it's odd. I don't know if it's for the better or not, but that used to be the common thing is people got a job or a career and just, they were there their
They
entire,
just stayed with it. Yeah.
and so, but things change and we adapt, I guess. But it must have been, I don't know. How do you do anything like that? You go to the same place every day for 30 years for young guys like me. I'm 36, Andy. So that seems so foreign. We kind of have these patches of, okay, 5-8 years here, another 6 years here. But
Yeah.
to do one thing for that long, that ever got repetitive or boring or whatever?
Well, yeah, looking back at it, it was pretty repetitive, yes. But I did advance to be the shop foreman and stuff like that. So and then I went to the evening shift and back to the day shift. So looking back, it was doable.
Yeah,
It was
I hear you.
doable.
So at what point did you start this crazy hobby, whatever, of umpiring baseball? I mean, you had served, in the U.S. Army. You went to school. You're doing this 30-year career. When did baseball kind of come into the picture?
Well, when my oldest son was 12, 13 in Pony League, I would go watch him play. He played at Orangewood Park in West Covina, and the umpires were awful. I'm sitting in the stands going, "Damn, they're bad." And so, both my sons, they'd come up to me and go, "Why did you do that, Dad? You'd be better than them." And I said, "Well, I could try." So next thing you know, I was doing practice games, buying shin guards here and there, yard sale stuff or whatever, and secondhand, and got out there, and the rest is history.
Okay, so I always ask this question because I think for most people, they sit in the stands or they sit on their couch and they're like, I can do that. That can't be that hard. Then they go do it. And you maybe you pick it up rather quickly, but still there's that learning period. The first few times you put on gear or step on a field, it's like, oh, okay, I see why mistakes are made because this is harder than it looks. Right? For all of us, we had that early on experience.
I think mine was more nerves.
Nerves?
When you play the game, you watch the game, you understand the game, and you know the rules, I think it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, I agree. It is much easier. And so you started umpiring baseball when your kids were younger, and then eventually, I'm not sure what the timeline is here. Were you coaching them, or did you become you helped with the West Covina Dukes? What was the timeline of all that stuff?
When Daniel turned 13, he was still playing Pony League, but he did try out for the Dukes, and he didn't make it. So he went back to Pony, but then all of a sudden the Dukes called him and said, "Hey, we need a first baseman." And I said, "You know what? Maybe next year, because he's committed to playing at Orangewood Park, and he's going to stay there." So after that, he got involved with Dukes and finished this 14 season with the Dukes, and then after that, I became a coach. I did not want to coach him while he was on the Dukes. They invited me to come coach. So.
Well, it's interesting that so many fathers today want to coach their kids. They have to coach their kids, and that's a big reason why they get into it. And so, did you just want to kind of separate those two lives and let him have his baseball playing experience, and you be the dad in the stands? Why did you take that approach?
It's because of daddy baseball.
I'm sorry, Andy. The connection is awful right now. Did something change? It sounds like We're losing you a little
No,
bit. No, nothing changed. Okay.
Better now?
Let me see. Try again, Andy.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Something changed. The connection is absolutely awful. I don't know what is going on today. It is bad connection day, bad technology day. There's nothing we can really do about it except push through it, I guess. Oh, now we got a dog in there. Bring the dog on the program too. Why not? Well, hopefully it just passes.
3 rescue dogs.
3 rescue dogs?
I have 3 rescues, yes.
Wow, that's awesome. Good for you guys. Okay, let's try this one more time. Coaching versus being a dad.
I did not want to coach him because then you get in the car and drive home and why did you do this? You did this wrong. You did. You don't want to be critical of the way he played the game, and I think that's a big thing of coaching your son. You know.
Yeah. No, I think that's
in my opinion. Yeah.
No, it's not easy, and some people can't separate those two things for sure. Do the lights go out, Andy? You're all right over there, man?
We're going to plug this phone in. We're going to plug it in as we speak.
Didn't pay our SE bill.
Oh man, for those not watching on
Okay,
YouTube, we got all kinds of things going on here. Yeah, lights going on.
We have light.
We got light. Let there be light. Beautiful. Okay, we'll just try to push through this. I know the audio is a little tough, but we'll keep hanging in there. So, what were your experiences like coaching the Dukes? Because I thought you did it for a few years, and my good friend Bob Lamb, who's still doing officiating and everything, and back in those days, I mean, what was it like coaching the world famous West Covina Dukes?
Well, I tell you what, that program is still going strong. They've added 10 and under, 11, 12. Now we're 13, 14, 15, all the way up to 17 and under. Wow. And it's a growing organization, and the quality is really good. Coaching is good. They have a great facility. I don't know if you've seen Maverick Park lately, but they have batting cages now. They have bullpen area. They have carpeting on the sidelines. It's really well kept up now.
Well, it's been such a constant here in the San Gabriel Valley, and it started back when your kids were playing and when you were coaching. I mean, Cam Saylor, to my knowledge, is still really affiliated there in keeping the park up and everything. His son has gone on to play in professional baseball and everything. And you still continue to umpire there at Maverick Field, world famous Maverick Field there in West Covina. So is it fun for you still at, in your 70s to go back there and umpire games when, kind of your kids were playing there back in the day?
Oh, yes. Continuing umpiring at Maverick is where the quality baseball is. You always want to umpire good games, because it keeps your mind in the game. It keeps you stay one step ahead as far as the next play. Umpiring, you can watch somebody umpire, but is he officiating? You got it. There's a big difference there. Anybody can go out there and stand behind the catcher and try to call balls and strikes, but the mechanics of the umpires, the 2-man crew, it just if it's done right, it's a good thing to watch.
Well, I like some of the like principles that the Dukes have had over the years. Like I think they always want two umpires. With Dukes games don't do one man. They all their players they not encourage. They tell you don't call the umpire blue. It's Mr. Umpire.
Exactly.
You don't toss.
Exactly.
It's all stuff like that that is taught to that has been consistent in the Dukes program. That is really cool to see, because I do think, especially in travel baseball, whatever it's called, that it has kind of gone downhill a little bit in just respect of the game and those around it. So that the Dukes have continued with the classiness really over the years and just from their foundation.
Well, you get teams from out of area that come to play, and the players want to throw you a baseball. And I said, no, I got alligator arms. I can't catch. Hand me the ball. And so, nowadays you're wearing black shirts and different color shirts, and they still want to call you blue. And I had one coach come up to me and goes, geez, what do I call you, black? I go, no, you can call me Mr. Umpire. And he just looked at me and goes, what? So it's the respect of the game. It's respect. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's it. That's it exactly. And I would think that a lot of those kids who've moved on, when I talked to Bob Lamb, a lot of the kids, he said, who went through the program, a lot of them have had great baseball careers, but a lot of them have gone on to do other great things. And they remember the lessons they learned from the West Covina Dukes back in the day. And so that is really, really cool to see a program that puts out a great product of young men, really.
Well, when the Dukes in the late 90s won back-to-back World Series, almost all those kids went to Bishop Amat. And the next 2 years of Bishop Amat were back-to-back CIF champions. And out of those kids, out of the starting 9, 8 of them went to D1 colleges.
Wow.
So that tells you the educational part of it.
Oh, big time. Yeah. And I think it was Jason Gonzalez, who I think I was told played in Cary Youth League as well. I think he played for the Dukes and then the Arsenal, and then Bishop Amat, played at Vanderbilt, won the national title in 19, and they lost the title this year. So that's just an example of one of many kids who have gone through the program.
And he just got drafted.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't see what round or anything.
I think the 17th round.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Good for him and the Wallace family. So, the Gonzalez family.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
But Southern California, San Gabriel Valley has been such a rich baseball area, and it's really cool to see kids who are 13, 14 years old then develop not into great baseball players, but again to great young men, and that has a lot to do with the coaches from the past, man. So, did you enjoy coaching baseball as much as you enjoyed umpiring over the years?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Being around the kids, watching them perform, working on the field, what they have worked on in practice, teaching them the aspects, the mental part of the baseball game. Baseball is so mental. And, you have the fear of failure. Don't hit me the ball. I don't know what to do with it. You teach that. You teach how you want to have the ball. You want to make that last out. That type of deal. It's really important in baseball.
Yeah, that's one thing I learned over the years when we started playing at Rio. Todd Carson, who you know well, he took over the 7th, 8th grade program, and we were 7th graders going out there playing these travel ball teams. We played the Dukes. We got our heads kicked in. We learned real quick that it's not about putting a bat on the ball and throwing hard. There's a lot more to baseball, for instance.
I umpired that game because I think you all drove up in a bus.
Oh yeah. We always showed up in a bus. Yeah. Little van, and Todd was driving in his baseball uniform. We get out, yeah. And he always wanted to play a game at Maverick Field, and we got to do that, and didn't last long because we got our heads kicked in. But my friend Nick Fuentes, who was in my class, he ended up playing for the Dukes. Right. Great athlete, great baseball player. So yeah, the the product really has been great over the years, and it's a brand, really. It's a brand name that man keeps going.
Yeah. Yep.
Andy, I got to ask. So, okay, well, no, I see there's a few more things on here. So Dukes baseball, you're umpiring baseball. When did this love of football officiating take shape? When, after many years of baseball, did you decide I'll try this football thing out?
It's a great question. We were umpiring a 9 and 10-year-old World Series at Walmart Park in West Covina, and the head umpire was Daryl Smith.
Wow.
I don't know if you remember Daryl Smith.
I do.
But he approached us and he says, "You guys should come out for football." And Bob Lamb and I looked at each other and says, "God, haven't tried something new in quite a while. Let's do it." So there it was.
Yeah.
I think that was in 1986 or 89, I think.
Ooh. You know what year I was born, Andy? You know what year I was born? Just at just setting the table here. Time frame 1985, sir.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so you start football, and what was your initial reaction to it?
Interesting. It was I played a couple of years at Rosemead High School, but only in the back then the younger divisions. And I said, this is pretty physical. So it's like baseball. I couldn't play the game that well, so I became an umpire, and I couldn't play football that well, so I became an official. So, but the love of the game, yeah, it's getting out there in the freshman and JV, you had 3 guys, but when you moved up to varsity, you had 5. It was really great, and then I was fortunate enough to be an instructor, and was able to do as I say, not as I do. And but it was great. I did it for 28 years, and then it was just got too quick, and the old knees started going out, and
Well, the offense has changed. The hurry up speed attack really of these high school teams now, it trickled down into high school, and it's tough for umpires. The guy in the middle is the umpire position in football, where you pretty much are putting the ball down. You're managing the emotions of the men in the trenches there.
You don't even have time to count players.
No. Count players. Well, I'm gonna put the ball down and snap it, then do it again. It's just like it does wear on you, and it has nothing to do with we all get to an age, I'm sure, just where it's the pace of the game is there.
Well, you know what I used to, excuse me, you know what I used to tell the guys in my classroom? I said, these football players are 16 and 17. They stay that age. We get older.
We get older every year. Yeah, they bring in new 16, 17-year-olds every year. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. But the one thing baseball guys love about football, all the baseball umpires I've ever talked to who then have worked football, there's one thing they love about it that baseball does not have, and that is
clock.
Yes, sir. There's a clock that is running, not all the time, but when it's not. Yeah.
Keep them in bounds.
Keep them.
Well, when you were first starting and you would go to have pizza with us and your dad was there,
yeah,
we would talk a lot and you would listen a lot, and you probably advanced faster than anybody that I remember. You listened, you wanted to learn, and look at you. You got into high school, you got into college. In baseball, you got into double A, single A, and you just advanced so fast. I was just so proud that I was one of the ones that you listened to. And to this day, yeah.
I mean, no, getting together Friday nights at Pizza Chalet, which is still a great spot. That was always fun, listening to, guys who are experts in their own mind anyway, especially after a beer or two, guys, guys arguing. But honestly, I thought there was more learning there than any classroom experience because it was
Because
real.
we talk situations. We talked, what would you do in this case? It just, get the hell out of the way. That's all. Appreciate.
No doubt about it. Yeah, it's there was a great deal of respect for those who have come before me. I wanted to be there. I wanted to be a member of the club really and advance. But it was really the friendships I made along the way. Football was the first sport I did officially in high school football, and then basketball, and then baseball. But my early experience with Foothill Citrus, meeting guys like you, Ruben Lopez, Bob Lamb, Tracy McFade, obviously, just Alex Carroll, so many guys that I still cherish the friendships today, even though we haven't officiated football in quite some time, because I still get this itch, Andy, not so much to jump on a football field, but to share a slice of pizza and a cold drink with my football buddies.
And how often do I say, hey, Matt, are you available Saturday?
Yeah.
I still keep you in mind, don't I?
Yeah, always do, man. And likewise, I do the same. It's not easy scheduling games at like Rio Hondo. So I have a handful of guys that I try to send over there, and you're one who does football and baseball quite often for me. And yeah, likewise, when I was struggling with cash and things, I would always count on Andy to send me some games at Maverick Field. There was one time though, Andy, it was a Saturday, for instance, where I called you in a pinch. This is a Rio Hondo Prep story. And I got a phone call on a Saturday morning from Rio Hondo. They said, hey, can you find us officials for our game tonight? I said, wait a minute. I thought you guys played last night. This is a varsity game. They said, well, we went up to Boron. The lights at Boron didn't work, so we had to come home. We said, we'll play Saturday. We're not going back up there. You're coming to us. Well, San Gabriel Valley officials couldn't cover the game, so I called the guys who I had sent over there to do junior high games before, you, Ruben, Gabe Lopez. And I said, hey guys, there's a game Saturday. I know you're probably just sitting down to watch a USC game or something, but can you guys go over and work this varsity game at Rio Hondo? And you guys had done a lot of junior high games and thought, okay, cool. Yeah, it'll be a nice little quick game, make a few bucks and come home, having no idea that Rio and Boron had formed this like annual rivalry and had met in the playoffs in multiple years. And you guys ended up being short a guy. So you guys go over there not knowing what to expect. And then all of a sudden it turns into the game of the year.
I think Rio won by 2 points.
42-41.
What was it?
Like 43-41 or 42-40, something like that.
Yeah, it was a 2-point game, and Boron went for the tie on a 2-point conversion, and they went to Mike Salas's side, who was a second-year guy. he ruled him short, and the greatest thing about that, other than the game, was the Boron coach came up to me and he says, "This is the best officiated game that I have seen."
Wow.
And he was the losing coach. And that will stick with me, because we only had 4 guys, and it was a great game.
Yeah, back and forth. Yeah, and that always says something to me when the losing coach compliments the officiating crew, because anyone could compliment the crew when they win. But when you lose, I mean, if you truly that to me,
that's meaningful.
Yes, absolutely. And we always joke about it to this day. Me, you, Ruben, we'll say something like, come on down to Rio Hondo, we'll have a good time. And and then you guys called me Saturday night. You go, what did you get us into? Because you didn't know that it was this rivalry game, playoff. So that was really funny. I heard about that one for a few weeks. Yeah, beware of Matt's calls. He might throw you into a hornet's nest.
No, it was great. It was such a great experience, working with these guys that we worked with, and looking at the eyes of Mike Salas, like, I think I'm overmatched. I think this game is bigger than me.
They called me. They needed they needed officials, and I said, "Well, excuse me, last minute notice. I'll do what I can do."
But we tried calling people too, and there was just nobody available. Everybody was into their first six pack or something.
Yeah, or working a college game or whatever. So, well, Andy, what about being the umpire position in football? Being that man in the middle, you always said there's two types of umpires: those who've been hit and knocked down, and those who have not yet been hit or knocked down, or something along those lines. You've been knocked down a time or two, right?
Well, I think after I said that, it was every week. But I think the hardest hit was a big tight end out of one of the promoter schools playing at Ganesha High School. He was he signed a letter of intent to play at USC. It was Charles Brown was his name. He came a tight end slant over the middle, and he knocked me all the way to La Puente. he came back through. He says, "Next time, stay the F out of my way."
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So as I escorted him to the bench, I said, "I don't think you're gonna play the rest of this game, and maybe not next week either." So.
Well, come on, you're overreacting. He couldn't have said anything that bad. It's so funny to me when coaches or fans were like, "Oh, he's umpire official. He's overreacting." It's like you have no idea what was said on the field. Let me tell you what he said. That's.
I think the worst formation when you're the umpire is double tights. You got double tight ends, and you know something's going to happen. They're going to cross in the middle.
Yeah, or they spread them out and do that dreaded middle screen on you.
Oh my God! I remember, funny story. I remember they moved me out of the middle at a Workman game, Workman High School, and they moved me out of the middle. And the Workman coach says, "Darn, I don't know what to run." And I said, and I didn't like the guy who took my place in the middle. I won't mention his name. I said, "Do you have a center screen?" He says, "Yeah, we got that." I go ahead, do it.
Run that middle screen. Yeah. Oh my God. See a humanity coming at you. Oh
my God. Your eyes get so big. Oh my goodness.
So what was worse, getting hit by a baseball or getting knocked down in football?
I think getting knocked down in football.
Ooh.
Yeah, getting hit by a baseball, that's just part of the game sometimes, but for getting knocked down, you're not expecting it. You always got to worry about when you're doing the umpire position is the backside pursuit. At a play going the other way, you got these people coming behind you, and it's like, don't hurt me.
Yeah, please don't do it. Well, you had a great high school football career, Andy. You still do some games at Rio Hondo, but you worked a few finals for the Foothill Citrus Football Officials Association. So, when I came in, you were one of the top umpires, one of the top guys, and you eventually passed on your knowledge and such to other umpires as you moved on. But man, a great high school football career. Do you maybe your body doesn't miss it, but do you miss Friday nights a little bit?
Oh yes, the camaraderie of working with five guys. And I did get my ass chewed out a few times from Tracy and this. Being a white hat, you got to take the heat. But there was one Friday night where I was being observed. It happened to be 9/11, and the mechanic was to get on the field, get your position, have the national anthem, and then everybody get together after that. Well, being 9/11, I wanted everybody in the middle of the field. So everybody was standing next to each other and, saluting the flag. Well, the guy that was observing me didn't like that. So I took heat for that, but you know what? I would still do that today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you there. We can make an exception tonight, I think, of all nights,
You
sir.
think?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to see more of that type of stuff than some of the other direction we've gone in regards to the flag and such. But I won't get into any of that. Great career, Andy. And yeah, I miss some of the Friday nights, if nothing else, the late night times when we all argued and told each other we were wrong until someone had to give in. Andy, you're a big USC football fan, a big LA Dodgers fan. I think you follow the LA Kings a little bit too. Talk to me about some of your favorite sports teams here and kind of the state of the state of the union really on them, because USC football has definitely seen better times. The Dodgers are World Series champs. What do you make of your sports teams?
Well, let me tell you. Let me go back,
Sure.
way back, and I'm gonna show my age a lot here. But in 1953, Channel 4 NBC started the Game of the Week, Major League Baseball Game of the Week. It was called the Gillette Game of the Week. And being on the West Coast, you always got to watch teams that were playing at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Well, they always showed the Dodgers. And I can tell you stories: Jim Gilliam, Duke Snyder, Carl Furillo, Gil Hodges, all those players, Pee Wee Reese, before they even came to LA. And so that's how I got the love of the Dodgers, was because as a child, as a 7-year-old, I was watching them every Saturday morning. Not cartoons, I was watching baseball.
Beautiful. I love that.
And as far as USC goes, it was, I can't tell you when, but it was in the 60s. I said, I got to pick a team to follow, and it had to be a local. And I do follow LSU too. But being a Trojan fan, and one year my sons gave me season tickets for my birthday, and went down there and watched 6 home games. It was great. It was great.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah. And as far as the Kings go, gosh, I can remember listening to them on the radio. Marcel Dion, Rogie Vachon, all those guys. And you forgot to mention the LA Rams.
I sure did. My guys right here. What it's so foreign really to have LA Rams fans in LA, which is odd to me, but I'll get, that's always talk to me about our beloved Rams.
Oh, what has grown up in the 50s and 60s, we had little transistor radios, and they weren't on TV. You'd have to sell out a stadium to be, given the chance to watch it on TV. So I'd go into the garage, turn on my little transistor, and listen to, what was his name, Kelly, the announcer, and I'd just listen to him at the Rams games. That was it. That was my love of the Rams, and my whole family loves the Rams. So
that is cool. And so what was well, I always ask this with Rams fans. So when they left to St. Louis for 20 years or whatever, did you still follow that? I know we were all mad at Georgia Frontiere, but did you still root for them while they're in St. Louis? And then when they came back, what was that emotion like for your family?
Well, I did follow them. I don't know if I rooted for them, but I did follow them because, it's just a part of you. And when they came back, it was like the Dodgers coming to LA. It was great. But come on back. We'll build you this big stadium.
Oh man, how beautiful is that state? I can't wait to go.
Huge.
I cannot wait.
It's huge. Yeah.
Because forever that was the argument. Well, no NFL team's going to come here because no one's going to build a stadium. And yeah, it was like we heard all these different rumors and plans. They were going to build one downtown. They're going to build one here. Redo the Rose Bowl. And it's like I'm so glad that they built the stadium where they did, Hollywood Park. Hey, state of the art. I mean, it's definitely really cool, and I can't wait for fans to be there this year.
Exactly. Hopefully, the way things are turning right now, you don't know, but yeah, SoFi Stadium.
SoFi. Let's last year's team host who hosted the Super Bowl, Tampa Bay Bucks, not only hosted, got to play in their home stadium, but won. So I'm hopeful. Maybe the Rams make a run and repeat history from last year. We'll see.
That'd be great. New quarterback. Got to see how he performs too. So
learning curve. Yeah, we'll see. But they got a great defense, good foundation. I saw Cam Akers tore his Achilles. That is a major bummer because he was
that's bad. Yeah,
going to be a premier back in the league this year, I thought. But oh well. Hey, next man up. You got to next ram.
That's why you have 45 guys, right?
That's right. Next ram up. I love Sean McVay. He's great, and hopefully he keeps it going. Your Dodgers, and I say your Dodgers, but won the World Series last year in that little mini season. First time since '88. I know a lot of fans here have been just so thirsty for that. It was great last year, I'm sure, for you and your family. But then you go to this year, and they're so talented yet inconsistent. At least those are my two things. So
it's all about pitching, you know that. And we got somebody hurt right now. I figured that we would win two out of the four this week, but after last night, it reminded me of Bobby Thompson.
This shot heard around the world. Yeah, Jansen. I mean, why they still put trust in him? I'm like, look, he's done great things, but it's time to move on, man. Robert just keeps throwing him out there, or whoever does. I don't know, but
they've got to do something in the bullpen. If they see him only throwing at 93 or 92 in the bullpen, he doesn't have the right stuff. He should be throwing 95, 96.
Yeah.
So they put him into that situation, knowing that even the announcers are going, his rhythm is wrong.
Yeah.
And you can't. It's hard to perform every night, but you've got to be able to see that as that bullpen coach out there.
Yeah.
Hey, this guy's not right tonight. Let's get somebody else up.
No, it doesn't seem like there's any adjustments ever made in Major League Baseball, which is so weird. But the World Series last year, Andy, did that mean it's a banner? It's a World Series banner. Did it mean was it any less significant because of the shortened season? Or my argument is, hey, everyone had to play in the shortened season, so you had to have a winner. What was that like for you last year compared to like 1988?
Well, last year, winning the World Series, there were still many teams involved. They went through a playoff system, so it wasn't like you won your division, you play this guy, then you go to the World Series. They had to play, a playoff system. So I think that's what really stands in my mind. 1988, I was at one of those games. I won one ticket to go watch a World Series game, and was it 88 where Gossage hit Ron Say in the head?
Oh man!
Yeah, I was at that game. I was sitting all the way up next to our Lord, all the way up, right? But I was right behind home plate, and I saw that him get hit in the head, and the ball flew into the second level. Wow! But yes, a World Series win is a World Series win in my book.
Oh, absolutely, indeed. So we'll see what the Dodgers can do. We'll see if the Rams can piece something together here. Football starts up real soon. I'm excited for that. And man, the Kings, I don't know what's happened to them. They've just fallen off the map. So it'd be nice to get in the playoffs a time or two here in the future. But Andy, this has been, let me say USC football. I know you're probably there's probably not too many Hilton fans out there in the state of the program. It's got to be frustrating, right? All the talent here in LA, and USC continues to struggle.
Well, I still follow them. I'll watch all four quarters, and I just pray if when we get to a bowl game, we don't embarrass ourselves. That's all I hope for.
Oh, no kidding. It's funny how the standards kind of lower, and USC fans, to hear them on the radio after games, they still think they are, these SEC schools, and it's like, I think at one time SC was great, but they haven't been relevant really the past few years. And I don't like it that way, but hopefully they can get back on track, here very, very soon. Get to play Notre Dame again this year. That's always a fun game. You and I have texted a little bit when when USC has gone out there. And so it'll be nice to see that rivalry come back this year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Got to play those guys.
Beat the Irish, indeed, when fight on. Well, as someone who was born in USC Medical Center, a Trojan from birth, Andy Angelo, this has been a lot of fun, my friend, catching up and chatting about your life, your career, your sons, your family, officiating, coaching. I mean, so many great topics. And I hope to get to see you in person real soon, sometime.
Right. Well, if you're available on Saturday, let me know.
You got a game or two for me?
Actually, I'm working on Monday. I'm doing an Arsenal game at St. John Bosco, and it's a team from Hawaii is coming in.
Nice.
So 17 and under should be fun.
Yeah, nice. Well, we'll stay safe, huh? Don't get hit by too many baseballs, and call them as you see them, man. And Andy, thank you for doing this today. Let's, I even talk. We used to have breakfast at Norm's every Friday. Me, you, Ruben Lopez, Brad Claude stepped in there a time or two. I mean, we used to, Luther Wilson, our good buddy. I mean, we used to have breakfast every Friday at Norm's, and some traditions always, come to an end. But I remember those stumbling in usually. You guys wanted to go earlier and earlier every week, I thought. And I was like, man,
you are not a morning person.
No, well, especially, keep in mind, I was in my 20s. Thursday nights were usually a fun night. So breakfast with the boys at 8 a.m. was not always easy.
Well, we've had a cup of coffee waiting for you.
Yeah, well, I'm fresh out of my big guy here. Andy, thanks again. I will chat with you down the road, man. This was a blast.
I enjoyed it. Sorry for the slow connect, but we got it.
Hey, like anything else, it just takes some time. And have a good one. Give my best to Judy and the family, and talk to you soon, Andy.
You also. How's your dad?
Doing great. Loving retired life, and doesn't get around to watch as many sporting events as he used to. But I'm sure we'll get him out there on the sidelines a time or two here to watch some football.
Look forward to it. All right, buddy.
Bye, Andy.
You take care.
Oh, I cut him off a little early. Sorry, Andy. We had some technical issues there. It is what it is. Hey, for those listening and watching on YouTube, thank you for bearing with us. Not always easy piecing this together. Connection issues. Not much we can do, but we get through it. We try to get home safe, right? So Andy Angelo, thanks for chatting with me today about just your life, your officiating career, and many, many good memories. We used to have breakfast at Norm's in West Covina every Friday. That was always fun. Have breakfast and then head out to our games Friday night or afternoon, whatever the case was. And just some of my favorite memories in chatting with guys like Andy, my good friend Ruben Lopez, Luther Wilson, just some great friends of mine who are significantly older than me, but that doesn't change anything. Age, sometimes you learn from those older than you. I would say most times you do. So anyway, Andy, thank you for the conversation, for your service to Foothill Citrus Football Officials Association, and your time with the West Covina Dukes, whether it be coaching or umpiring or whatever. And of course, your contributions to Rio Hondo Prep, working a lot of football and baseball games over there as well. So talk to you soon, Andy. And guys, for the rest of you, I should say for the rest of the week, there is no rest of the week. This is the Friday edition of the podcast. More great guests coming up on Fridays. Please continue to reach out to me, send me ideas, topics, your questions, your opinions, maybe some potential guests, and I will try to get them on the program as we move forward. But guys, as always, no matter what you're doing, whether you're out on the town or around in third base, get home safe.